All right, Algebra 2, I'm going to do the next section of stuff. So I'm going to show you the top one over here. This one is going to be a more complicated factoring one. So before you do these multiplication things, you want to do the factoring first. And remember the rules for multiplication. Whether it comes to fractions, you just multiply straight across, straight across. But I would simplify first. So in order to do that, check out number 4. We have A is equal to 3, B is equal to 14, and C is equal to 8. And if you're wondering, I'm talking about the numerator right here. So I'm looking for AC is 24. So what multiplies to that and adds to that? 12 and 2, I believe. 12 and 2. So then what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and break up this. So I have 3x squared plus 12x, because I'm breaking up that 14x, y'all, plus 2x. If you're wondering where the numbers are coming from, they're right here. Plus 2x plus 8. Now I can do that whole grouping thing, factor by grouping. It is your friend. I pull out a 3x, and I end up with x plus 4. And then I pull out a 2, and I have an x plus 4. So that's really nice. So my numerator is going to reduce down to, check it out, there's my 3x and my 2. So it's going to reduce down to 3x plus 2 times x plus 4. And then I still have my 2x over here. I still have my x plus 4 on the bottom here. And then I'm going to take out, what can I take out in this 12x plus 8? I can take out a 4. Take out a 4, and I end up with 3x plus 2. So check out what I can cross out before I even get to going. I'm going to look at the top and bottom, and remember it's one cross, one on top, one on bottom. So boom, boom. That crosses out because those match. This crosses out because that matches. And now what I'm left with when I multiply straight across is I'm left with 2x over 4. And because that's just regular numbers, I'm going to reduce the numbers down to 1/2, and then the x stays where it needs to be. Right there. So your whole answer ends up being 1/2 x, which is great. This one is basically the same thing. I'll go ahead and set up some of the factoring for you. So you have the x, let's see, it's x plus 6, x minus 1. For the top, I factored this one right here. I just did it in my head. Positive 6 and negative 1, when you multiply them together, it gives you negative 6. And when you add them together, it gets you 5. So I have my x plus 2 down here. And then I have my 3x plus 6 up here. Actually, I'm going to take a 3 out. See this 3x plus 6? I'm going to take a 3 out, and I end up with x plus 2. And then check it out. On the bottom is perfect square minus sign perfect square. You end up with x plus 6 times x minus 6. And that cancels out. Boom, boom. The x plus 2, the x plus 2. So what I'm left with is on the very top, I have 3 times x minus 1, and I'm just going to leave it like that. And on the bottom, I have x minus 6. So that becomes how you do this entire thing. I'm going to go to the next section, and I'm not going to do different videos because all you have to do on this next section, this is division. What ends up happening is you do the keep, change, flip. That ends up changing to multiplication, and then you're going to flip it over, and you're going to solve those. I'll put the answer key up later. But for now, you're going to have to do this yourself. So then when you're done, you flip it, and then it's just going to be a multiplication problem like you've already been doing. So it's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about 8 and 9. I don't want to worry about those. And then, yeah, I know how y'all are going to do with this. I know how this goes. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I break this up. I'm going to break it up as to the cube root of 125 times the cube root of x to the 6th times the cube root of x squared times cube root of y to the 6th. So that's how I break it up. For those who don't remember this stuff, like when you break it up, the cube root of 125 is 5. This number 6 divided by this number 3 gives you x squared. This number 2 is smaller than this number, so it's stuck inside the house. And then this number, y to the 6th, and then that 3 right there, 6 divided by 3 is 2. And now you can shove it all back together. And you end up with 5x squared, y squared, cubed root of x squared. That's how you do that whole thing. This one here, number 11, is basically you're going to add 2 on both sides. Make sure you add 2 on both sides. And then you're going to end up with the x plus 2 to the 1/2 equals x plus 2. Then you're going to basically get rid of this by multiplying it by the opposite denominator thing. Remember when you flip it? The reciprocal is what I'm looking for. You flip it, and that's how you multiply it out. And you end up with x plus 2 equals x plus 2 times x plus 2. And then you should be able to solve it from this point on. You're going to basically factor it all out, like multiply it all out. X times x is x squared, plus 2x, plus 2x, plus 4. And then from that point on, you basically just subtract your x over, subtract your 2 over, do all that stuff. I don't want to do it for you because we've done this in class already. You need to recall this and use your own memory. So with that said, I'm just going to do these 2 videos and call it a done deal.